Okay, so it's 7:05. We're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight we're talking all about the University of Wyoming Agricultural Education Program. My name is Shannon. I'm the Alpha Tau Alpha uh, FFA coordinator. Alpha Tau Alpha is the co-ed fraternity for agriculture education nationwide, and we are the University of Wyoming chapter. I'm going to let everyone else go ahead and introduce themselves. Glory, do you want to start?
Yeah, I am Glory Dickerson. I am the Alpha Tau Alpha reporter. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have right now.
Awesome.
I'll go next. My name's Hunter Galuzzo. I'm currently serving as the ATA president. I'm from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I'm a junior.
I can go next. My name is Tiffany Connolly. I'm from Bridgeport, Nebraska, and I'll technically be a fifth-year senior next year, and I'm currently the secretary for Alpha Tau Alpha.
I'll go next. My name is Rebecca Ruffy. I'm from Winter Haven, Florida, and I'm the ATA treasurer.
I think that's pretty close to me being left. Name's Alex Colson. I am the ATA tech competition coordinator, even though sadly that's kind of put on hold right now with all of this. I'm from Torrington, Wyoming, like a 5.5-year senior. I don't know what to call it. Yeah.
We love it. All right, also joining us, we have Christy Thompson and Lindsay Freeman, who I will introduce later. And we have Callie Klingman and Zach, who are also members of Alpha Tau Alpha. Just before we go ahead and get started, if you guys have any questions while we go along, please feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask them. And we'd love to answer them. All right. So we'll see if this works, maybe. Oh, there we go. Well, as I mentioned earlier, Lindsay Freeman is on our Zoom with us. She is UW Ag Education. Her office is located in the education building. Unfortunately, you can't visit her right now, but she does have office hours. And this is her email and phone number if you guys need to get in contact with her. Lindsay has been with the university. This is her second year now, and she has really started to build a great program and take this off the ground. And she's truly amazing. So if you come learn at the University of Wyoming, you will work directly with Lindsay. And it's pretty awesome to be able to learn from her. She will talk a little bit later for us. Hold on, it's thinking. Okay. Next we have Christy Thompson also joining us. Her office is in McWhinney Hall. Unfortunately, you also can't visit her right now, but this is her email and phone number if you need to get in touch with her. And Christy is an advising person for agriculture education. And she is extremely helpful when looking for classes, especially when you transfer in or if you have any questions regarding your concentration or if you want to add an endorsement. She's always extremely helpful. And she's very responsive also. So if you want to email her with any questions after or when you come to UW, she's always willing to help. All right. Lindsay, it's your turn.
All right. So so for this part, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our program. So we're actually in the College of Education. So students take education courses as well as courses. They get all their content from the College of Ag, with the exception of ag mechanics classes that we take down in the shop in the College of Education, as well as secondary methods in ag education. And a new course that we added, which I think is called Community Programs in Agricultural Education. And it's where we really explore how AgEd and FFA really incorporate community relations as well. So that's kind of our program in a nutshell. Some of the degree options, there's 3 concurrent majors that we currently offer. And that's Ag Business, Ag Communications, and Animal and Vet Science. And there's 6 concentration areas. You can see those below. And actually, I would like to maybe turn it over to Christy, and she can kind of explain how our concurrent majors kind of work, because she does that really well, and I'm trying to get that down.
Sure, thank you. So the concurrent majors, the way those do work, you can think of it as getting 1 degree. You get a Bachelor of Science from the College of Education with a major in secondary agricultural education, and then a major in either ag business, ag communication, or animal and vet sciences. So if you're interested in teaching, but you're thinking perhaps you might also want to do some side jobs with editing agricultural magazines, news articles, that type of thing. You could do that easily with an ag communications degree. If you're thinking that perhaps down the road you want to be able to teach animal and vet science courses at a community college, you need a master's degree to do that in animal and vet sciences. The concurrent major allows you to be qualified and eligible to potentially go to grad school in that field without having to do any or very little any kind of prerequisite and upbeating the knowledge. They don't exclude you from getting any minors. We can still add minors to this. Shannon mentioned endorsements. We can add all kinds of endorsements onto these programs. But the real focus is on those 3 concurrent majors, saving you some time so that you don't have to get 2 degrees. You can cover what you need to within the 1.
Awesome, thank you. And I will say that the biology endorsement is very popular, and that's coming in handy for some of our graduates as they kind of look for jobs, especially in the state of Wyoming. So anyways, I also wanted to make sure that we told everybody that in 2019, 100% of our graduates actually were placed, got a job. And we're pretty close to that already in 2020. There have been 13 openings that have been open, and many of them have been filled since then, but 13 openings in the state of Wyoming only in 2020, which is huge. That's nearly 25% of our positions have come open. And so I always tell my students that if they are willing to think outside the box, if they're willing to maybe even leave the state of Wyoming for a little bit, even with the idea that maybe they want to come back someday, you will get a job teaching ag when you graduate. Especially if we're looking at things the way they are now, there's a huge shortage of ag teachers nationwide. Sometimes you may have to leave the state for a few years and then come back, but you know, there are jobs to be had out there. And so I want to make sure that everybody knows that as well. I think that is everything that I need to say about this slide.
Thank you for sharing. Alrighty. So now we're going to talk about a little bit about where the Ag Education Department is. It kind of seems like we're stuck in the dungeon. We call it our basement because we are in the bottom of the education building. But with that does come a big perk, is we have a very large shop that we make lots of projects. We made these wooden stools in one of our Ag Met classes. And right next to our shop is our classroom. So all of our classes are integrated with the shop, and we are able to utilize that space. And in the shop, we have welders. I think we have 6 or 7 that are fully functional. We also have oxyacetylene welders. We have a plasma cam that's very nice, and it's actually brand new. We do a lot of woodworking as our stools. We also built a picnic table. We have small engines that have been donated to our program, and we're able to pull them apart and put them back together and learn all about them. We do a little bit of electrical work, and we also learn about drones, which is a new and upcoming technology that we can utilize in our future classrooms, and a lot of people are utilizing every single day. So that's really nice that we get to learn about it and experience it in the classroom before we go out and use it in our careers. We also, in the picture of our classroom, that's Mr. Groney. He's an ag teacher in Torrington, Wyoming, and he was able to come and speak to us, which is also something very unique about our program, is Lindsay tries to at least get one ag teacher to come and speak to our classroom or ATA throughout the year. So we don't only get to learn from Lindsay, but we also get to learn from ag teachers across the state, which is very unique. And actually just last week, we did a Zoom meeting with a bunch of ag teachers from around the state, just to hear from their experiences and be able to ask them questions. So I believe that's something very unique about our program, just because we really just get to be with the whole state of Wyoming, and we work closely with Wyoming FFA, and we're really able to get that hands-on experience before we go out into the real world. All right. So for what classes you'll be taking, Lindsay touched on it a little earlier, but if you come straight to the University of Wyoming, you'll of course have to take your general education courses like English composition, your freshman seminar, biology. Then you'll take agriculture courses, which doesn't matter what your concentration or concurrent major is, you will take them, like agroecology and rangeland management. And then you'll have your teaching courses, which are basic teaching courses like diversity in politics and teaching with technology. And those will also be just general. It doesn't matter what your concentration is. As you get further on in your educational career, you'll also have the opportunity to take a practicum. And in this class, you are required to go into a high school classroom or a middle school classroom, hopefully agriculture education, and you'll do 30 hours of in-class work with them, and you'll have to teach one lesson, which for me was one of the most beneficial experiences in my educational career. And then we also have our agriculture education courses. Lindsay touched on them a little bit, but you'll take 2 agricultural mechanic and technology courses, community programs in agriculture education, and your methods course. And Lindsay teaches all of these courses along with a couple of general teaching courses that you can take with her. But in the agriculture mechanics class, that's really when you get the hands-on welding and woodworking, electrical, small engines. And it sounds like a lot, because it is, to jam in one semester. So that's why we split it into 2. And Lindsay kind of flip-flops the focus in those classes. One class she'll focus more heavily on welding and small engines, and then the next class it's a little more woodworking. And so that's very beneficial. Also through those classes, we get a lot of resources from outside that you can use in your future classroom. And Lindsay really teaches in a way that she asks us how we would do it in our classroom and shows us how she teaches it to a high school classroom, which is extremely beneficial because you can sit there and learn about a subject all day, but once it really comes down to it, it's how do you teach it to others? That's the important thing. And then community programs in agriculture education gives you basically a brief overview of FFA, and does more of the FFA side of it, which a lot of students who come into agriculture education are past FFA members, but there is also a growing amount of students who weren't an FFA, and that can be super beneficial. Either way, if it's brushing up on your skills in the FFA or just learning about FFA in general, it's a good course. And then methods is when you start actually teaching lessons, and Lindsay really puts your nose to the grindstone and gets you ready to go out and student teach. And then, of course, your last semester will be student teaching in Wyoming. So right now, I'm going to try and walk you guys through how to get to the program sheet. In my opinion, the University of Wyoming's website is not the easiest to navigate. So I'm just going to show you, and then you guys, if you have questions, feel free to ask. So you'll just go to uwyo.edu, and this is what the homepage will look like. And if you scroll down to programs, click on that. What I tell you about this website, it's going to take years, maybe not. All right, and then you'll get to this page and it'll say Explore Colleges. If you go to the College of Education, because we're not in the College of Agriculture like many schools, we're in the College of Education, and then scroll down to the School of Teacher Education under Secondary Education. It will ask, it'll say Secondary Education at the top. You'll scroll down to our programs and it'll be Agriculture Education. And then you'll scroll all the way almost to the bottom and click on Forms and Links. And then it'll take you to program sheets. And it has our 3 program sheets for agriculture education with agricultural business, animal and veterinary science, and agricultural communications. So if you pull any of them up, each one, the concentration courses will be different, but all of your standard courses are the same. And you got to work through them, but it's good. And for some reason, the agricultural business one is not showing what your basic classes will be, which is interesting. But if you go to animal and veterinary science and scroll down, on the left right here, it says agriculture education core requirements. And these are all the basic courses that I was talking about that everyone in agricultural education will take. And then here's your major content classes that you'd have to take if you were in animal and veterinary science. Does anyone have, I'm just going to pause right now. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Oh, this was a good reminder. On this, on the program sheet, it says background check completed. You will need a background check when you go into phase 2, which there are phases in agriculture education, which if you want to learn more about them, I would highly suggest contacting Christy or Lindsay. But your first phase is just like your basic courses. And then your second phase, you will need your background check, which it's just a simple background check, no worries there. But that gets you into your practicum class and classes that you'll actually be going into the classroom for, obviously for safety and security reasons. And then phase 3 is your student teaching. All right. Maybe is Becca on?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Hello.
sorry. So I'm a transfer student, and I just wanted to tell you that it's tough, but it's going to be worth it. A lot of the courses that you might take, like if you were to go to a community college, you might not transfer. So I would recommend getting in contact with Christy or Lindsay and seeing, like, getting your courses that you're taking and seeing if they will transfer. But yeah, that way you know, like, what you're getting yourself into. Like, what if you are taking stuff that won't transfer, then you probably need to prepare that you're not going to be able to finish the degree in 2 years, but you just got to make plans to talk to Christy or Lindsay. So yeah, do you want me to say anything else? If you have any specific questions, maybe I could help, but every community college or state college is different. But yeah, if you have a question, pop it up in the chat bar and I'll try to answer it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was also a transfer student. It is challenging, but you also have Lindsay now, and Lindsay rocks. So, all right.
Do you want me to talk on this too, Shannon? Hello.
Hello, yes.
Okay, sorry. So our club ATA really helps you with meeting new people. My first year at UW, I didn't do clubs. I didn't know anything really about ATA. I followed the Facebook page, but I really didn't know who to really get in contact about going to meetings. And then my second year, I was in ag mechanics, and I got recruited by some of the other classmates to join. And I was kind of scared, like hesitant that, you know, people are gonna be like, oh, you're from Florida, you must love the beach or whatever stereotype you want to give me. But, you know, I come to realize that they're all the same as me. Like, we're all in the same tribe, we all have the same goals, and we're very passionate about AgEd. And it's very nice to have that support. We're basically all like a family in ATA. And another reason why you should join ATA is you get hands-on experiences with Wyoming FFA. So being from Florida and being part of the Florida FFA, like I'm not really too familiar with Wyoming FFA. So it's a great way to get involved and learn more about it. And also we do like Cowboy Classic and different judging things we can go to where we can meet ag teachers, meet the students, and get some more experiences with Wyoming FFA.
Yeah, and kind of with that, we also travel to National Convention every year to the ATA Conclave, which is every ATA chapter from across the US gets together, and they also do contests. Last year we participated in the Program of Excellence, which is all about the community service and fundraising activities that we do. In our ATA chapter, we also get a lot of time with students at convention. Those who haven't been to convention are able to see what it is, experience it. And there's also a lot of free teaching curriculum that you can get your hands on at National Convention. What else do we do? We do a lot with ATA. We also do a lot of stuff in the community. Last year we did a cleanup day. We're hoping to do a couple more fundraisers, hopefully in the fall once all this stuff dies down. But yeah, just like Becca said, Cowboy Classic it's a practice state ag mech contest. So we put together scenarios and then machine ID, welding, small engines. There's a team activity, they take a test. And then what is the one I'm forgetting?
You're missing out electrical would be the one that you're leaving out there.
Electrical, and then ENR, Environmental and Natural Resources. And so that is nice because we learn how to put the scenarios together, how to learn or how to write tests, and then we actually monitor the whole contest. So we monitor the shop, the testing room, the team activity, and really we're super interactive with FFA students and teachers that way. Does anyone want to add anything about ATA?
I'd just like to add that there's a lot of things that come up through the year. There's a lot of chapters that might possibly ask for you to help judge their chapter officer applications or agri-science fair. there's just a lot of opportunities that come up through the year that, since we are the only university, we have full rights to be the first volunteers. So there is a huge array of things that we get to do to help Wyoming FFA and stay really close involved with the students and the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say that it's a group of people that are just very active all the time. And this is a great example of that. Here we are sitting at our homes, and we have every right to just kind of give it up for the year. And we've been planning something every Wednesday night in the place of our meetings that we would normally have. And so if you're somebody that is, wanting to make sure that you stay active, I know a lot of us come from very active FFA chapters, and that's something that we might want to be craving when we're in college. ATA is not like FFA, and I think that's kind of a cool thing about it too, is that sometimes we want to leave FFA behind us in high school and we want to do something new. So ATA is not FFA, but it has all those great things that we love about FFA. As Becca was saying, a family type thing, and gives us a way to be active and not just, sitting in our dorm room every night. So it's a group of people that really want to stay active even when we have every excuse not to.
That's well put. We are very active. Our normal meetings, we try to keep them to an hour, but we usually end up being there until 9. And we do them so late just so we can try and get all of our members together. And we're just really trying to make it the best program that we can. And ATA and UW agriculture education definitely go hand in hand. Does anyone have any questions right now? Okay, while we just see, I'm sure these are all questions that all those of us who are on here were definitely wondering when we went to UW, but we just came up with a few questions for some of our officers to answer. So if Lori wants to go ahead.
Yeah, so I chose to go to UW for a few reasons. When I was searching for a college, I definitely wanted something out of my home state, and I wanted a medium-sized university, which is exactly what Wyoming is. It definitely has that small college availability where all of your professors, and especially in the AgEd program, it's a smaller program. So you get to know Lindsay very well, very early on. And then I also wanted a good education program, and the UW education program is nationally recognized for a couple different things, and so it was pretty stellar in that. And then Laramie also is awesome, so that was really easy to get into. It's like a small town but a big town at the same time. There's awesome shops, and it's just pretty special in that regard. So those are kind of the reasons that kind of tipped the scales and made me choose UW.
Awesome. So next, Zach Davis is one of our members, and he also works with admissions. So he's going to talk a little bit about cost with you guys.
Yeah, so like Shannon said, I do work for the admissions office here at the University of Wyoming. So if you come to UW, I would give you most of the tours. But we do have a lot of great benefits of being here at the University of Wyoming. For our undergraduates, if you're a resident of Wyoming, your cost of attendance total is about $21,000 a year. That is not these prices are not including scholarships, grants, or any loans added onto it. This is the full price that you would see. But with being a part of Wyoming, you have the Hathaway Scholarship, which is really beneficial to a lot of students who are coming from Wyoming. And then also from a non-resident standpoint, like myself, that's $35,000 a year compared to most different out-of-state universities. I know for me, it was a lot cheaper to go here than to go to a school in California, that including the scholarships and such. But like being a student for the state of being a student here at the University of Wyoming, we have a lot of scholarships for you that we can offer a lot of students when you do come to the University of Wyoming. The big one is the WUI, the Western Undergraduate Exchange Scholarship. This is only including for like the Western states, so pretty much Wyoming's kind of like on that border with South Dakota and such. But for the ones who are not from a WUI state, we have something called just now the Brown and Gold Commitment. It works the same just like WUI. Whatever you get on your SAT or ACT scores, and then based off of your GPA, your non-unweighted GPA, you then like just add it to like the bracket and you see how much you can get for WUI. There is some same kind of requirements. You must maintain a 3.0 GPA, and I check that at the end of every semester. You can only get up for 8 semesters, and it's only for non-residents who are looking to come to UW. But also, if you look at the two cost comparisons we also added Colorado State University, which is only 45 minutes south of Laramie in Colorado. And between the cost comparisons, it's almost $10,000 difference between the two. And you can't really beat that price when you're coming to the University of Wyoming. The way I always say on my tours is you're getting such a high quality education at such a low affordable rate. Another thing they asked me to also talk about was residence living. I was a first-time resident at UW when I first moved here in 2016, and you are required to live in the residence halls your first year at UW. Most of our we have 4 residence halls here, and we just added the Tobin House as a first-generation house. So if you are a first-generation student, meaning both your mom and dad did not go to college, you are required to go to you can apply to live in that house as well. We also have like different FIGs, different living arrangements. We have LGBTQ plus floors as well. We have different FIGs that are geared towards your major or concentration. And most of our rooms are standard double rooms, 12 by 14 feet, 2 to a room usually. You can also get a suite as well where you would have your own room and share a bathroom with somebody. But the residence halls and all the amenities that we have here at the University of Wyoming are amazing. Like you can't really beat them. They're brand new rooms, all remodeled, really just amazing facilities that we do have. That's all I got.
Awesome. So Zach did talk a little bit about scholarships. UW does like a main general scholarship application. Fill that out when you get to UW because it does give you a lot of scholarships. And that it's just super important to get scholarships. And this, you can tell the support from Wyoming because of the scholarships. So thank you, Zach. Hunter, how would UW AgEd benefit me as a future teacher?
Hey, Hunter, you're muted.
Okay, sorry, my
There we go.
quick unmute button isn't working. Yeah, so thank you. UW Ag Education is a smaller program, but I wouldn't say that as a negative thing. We last year had class sizes of 10 or so, maybe a little bit bigger, but what that allows us to do is to get so much better quality interaction with our teacher, pick up a lot more valuable information that way, and that directly leads to you learning more about what you're going to use in your future career. Another major benefit of going to UW to pursue an AgEd degree is that you get so much more interaction with current teachers and current students than you do in most other universities. I've had some exposure to other universities across the country and their AgEd programs, and they don't see FFA members or FFA teachers while they're in their education. And that's, as I would say, the exact opposite of what we get to do at Wyoming. So we are provided all the opportunities and get to host events, interact with current teachers and students a ton, and that all makes us feel more comfortable when we're going into our future careers. It also gives us a lot of valuable experiences that AgEd students across the country at other universities don't get. But most of all, I'd say it's just a family, and it's a very safe place to learn and get out of your comfort zone and grow into the teacher that you know you can be inside. I think it's just a very amazing place to do that, and you leave UW AgEd with lifelong friends and teaching people who are teaching in other places that you know you can rely on for the rest of your career. So there's a lot of value in coming to UW AgEd, and we're on the up. And I think it's going to be one of the premier places, if not already the premier place, to get an AgEd degree. So there's a lot of really cool things that UW AgEd brings you and helps you with in your future career.
Awesome. Thank you, Hunter. And lastly, Tiffany. Tiffany was actually on the livestock judging team, her and her twin sister, Stephanie. And she's just going to talk a little bit about managing agriculture education but still being able to participate on those competitive teams.
Yeah, so like Shannon said, I was on the livestock judging team, and having to balance the class load and be on a competitive team was something that I also did in junior college. So it was nice to have a little bit of, like knowing what I was going to be getting myself into when I went to a senior college. But my biggest piece of advice is just being dedicated to both and knowing how to manage your time and knowing how to say no to certain things. And to be completely honest, I didn't come to the University of Wyoming initially for the AgEd program. I really didn't know anything about it. I came to Laramie to judge for the coach that I judged for. But after I looked into the ag program and I met Lindsay for the first time in class, I knew it was a place that I felt like I belonged. And like Hunter had said, it's just a family. And it's one of the best decisions that I've made. But like I said, just learning how to balance your time a little bit, learning how to say no, and just prioritize your time. And my biggest piece of advice, again, would buy a planner, guys. I live by my planner. It's literally my favorite thing. I have it right here. Just get a schedule put down. Rely on your advisors. Christy has been an amazing help to me, and I know I've probably drove her crazy ever since I came here. So I'm so sorry about that, but she's been an amazing tool. And don't be afraid to ask for help. If things get to be too hard or too much for you, ask for help. And I guarantee you, any of us that are in the College of Ag education program would be more than willing to help you and help you learn the ropes and get you to the people that can give you the answers that you need. So yeah, that's about all I have. If any of you guys are livestock judges, please come. Even though we're getting a new coach, he's still very good. I judged for him in junior college, so just come to Wyoming. It is an amazing school. I'm not just tooting my horn here. It really is a really, really nice place to be.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now is the time. We're kind of done with our presentation. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to put them up in the chat. While I'm waiting on that, Tiffany and Hunter are right. UW really is like a family, and it's not just the agriculture education program. I think it goes much further than just the College of Education too. It's really just campus wide. I was always told when I was coming out of high school that I should go to the college that when I walk on campus, it feels like I'm home. And UW is very much like that. I was lucky enough to go to UW with my brother, which is it was a fun experience. So you always have that to look forward to as well. Okay, looks like we do have a question. Is it possible to take other classes such as music classes while you're studying for an ag ed degree? Skylar, this is a very good question for Christy.
Yes, you definitely can. Partially, depending on your timeline, as a lot of these amazing students, and they're going to be amazing teachers, can verify. You can be here a long time if you want to be. And you can be here shorter too, potentially, right? Generally, the program, especially as a transfer student, is going to probably be about 3 years if you don't want to be overloaded in coursework and have time to participate in student organizations like ATA. However, I highly encourage students to take other classes outside of the major because you need that. You need that break from the very academic nature of the degree. These AgEd degrees are very agri-science. They are challenging degrees. And if you have something like music that you want to stay involved with, yes. There may come a point where you kind of have to choose, am I going to do music or do I want to get done a little faster? But generally, as an advisor, if you come in and start talking to me and saying, these are things that are really important to me, that I want to make sure I maintain connection with and continuity, we can make that happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy. Yeah, I am working towards my biology endorsement. So those are science classes. So I did not get a break from the agri-science classes, but has anyone taken other classes? That they want to share about?
Well, I guess I'm doing the concurrent major program. So I'll be getting, like Christy explained, an ag business separate kind of degree alongside my UW AgEd degree. So that means that I have to take an extra 30 credits or so in the span of my college experience to get all of my stuff done. And I think that there's still time to find some classes that you really, really like. There's also a lot of flexibility in the electives you can take, the spaces that you have for ag electives, and there's some very creative classes out there. One of my favorite classes I've ever taken was a choice elective on investing, and that was something that I was really interested in, and it turned out to be awesome. So I think it's very possible to manage your schedule. You just have to be intentional with it, because that is probably the most stressful experience for any college student outside of taking finals across the entire country, is making sure that you get the classes you need. But UW does a wonderful job of making it less stressful, thanks to people like Christy and Lindsay, who are there to offer advice. But I think there's definitely room for other classes.
Yeah, I would agree with Hunter on that. Like I took like it's in the ag realm, but like I was very interested in carcass fabrication, and I took a carcass fabrication class my sophomore year of college. Really did enjoy it, and like I'm pursuing more meat science interests now, kind of like off the beaten path of the AgEd degree. But I'm also this semester taking Spanish as another, just to get myself more fluent in another language and become a trilingual. So kind of using that as another advantage.
Just to add on, oh, sorry, go ahead, Lindsay.
No, you go ahead. I was just going to ask a question.
To add on to what Zach and Hunter have said, it's fun. It's cool if you can find a class to take that may not necessarily be directly in the College of Education, but may still help you with the concentration or concurrent major that you take. A class that I got to take this semester was multimedia production. So I got to create a blog. I get to blog every week. I get to take pictures of a bunch of things. I got to take pictures of the rodeo team. So it's something that I wouldn't have been able to do before, but it's still kind of aligned with my major. So just talk to Christy and see if you can find those interesting classes that may still count towards your degree. So you're killing two birds with one stone, I guess, and not necessarily wasting your time, but you're still, getting those credits that you need. But there's a lot of interesting classes you can take that still align with your major.
I was just going to ask if anybody's taken the fitting and showing class or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I did. I took it my freshman year. And then I was also a TA for it my sophomore year.
I took it whenever I transferred over from Polk State, and I was a junior, and because I never showed cows, so it was very helpful to meet new people when I first came out to Wyoming and learn something new.
Can you guys explain a little bit what that is? I know what it is, but just for everyone else.
So
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, it's fitting and showing. It's kind of a little. I think of it as like a little fun way. If you were in the show industry and world, like when you were in high school and like as a teenager, like most of us were. It's a nice way to like you learn how to show and fit different animals. TAs and the instructor for the class. They kind of all get together and they choose like different times for you to go out to the farm. You get your own animal, you work with it, you fit it and get it ready for a show that is the weekend before Thanksgiving break. It's called the Little International Livestock Show. It's put on by the Block and Bridle Club here at UW. And it's a really fun little thing that you get to do. You win prizes. In the past, they've had belt buckles. This last year, if you won champion, you got this cool duffel bag. Reserve champion's got like these little cool travel mugs. And then you get to participate either showing a lamb, a hog, a heifer, and also horses. And you can also participate in the round robin section as well if you do really well in your class.
Awesome, thank you. Also with Cowboy Classic, we talked about it a little bit earlier. We put on the AgEd or Ag Mechanics portion of it, but there is also a livestock judging portion. We did a range contest last year. There's a meats contest. We also do vet science too. We put that one on. So it's not just Ag Mechanics either that you get experience putting on a contest. It's a variety of options, which is definitely really cool. And then we also go and help with the state contests and practice contests throughout Wyoming.
Yeah, and just to jump on to what Shannon had said, take those opportunities that you get, like going to state convention or helping with those contests, because you get to meet a bunch of advisors from around the state that you usually don't get an opportunity to meet. I've gotten to meet so many that I would like to say that I'm really close friends with now, that I know that if I ever had a problem or an issue or questions, they'd know how to answer it and give me all the help that I need. So take those opportunities. It really is a nice chance to get your feet wet on the opposite side of not being the student anymore, being like the adult that's in charge of things. Even though that's scary, I promise it's not.
All right, does anyone have any other questions or anything that they would like to add? Okay.
I am just sitting here.
Hello, Alex, are you trying to talk?
Okay, sorry, I'm like just left my Wi-Fi, so I'm on a super sketchy cell phone coverage now. While we're talking about like competitions and stuff, it's a really nice way to be able to like kind of learn about some new stuff. Like when we do our Cowboy Classic and stuff like that, the way that all of those scenarios are planned are in like small groups. So it's really nice to say like, you don't know much about like welding. There's a lot of true ag classes in like high school and stuff like that. It's nice because you can come in and you can work with like somebody like me who has a welding degree, and we can sit down and talk, and you can kind of see some of that stuff from the other side. That was one thing that's really nice to be able to do, is kind of share that experience in an area where you don't have as much experience with that subject field.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We were talking about other classes before, and just I was a transfer student, as I told you guys earlier, and I took the opportunity to take a lot of classes that actually didn't transfer to the University of Wyoming, but are definitely going to benefit me as a teacher. So if you are thinking about going to a junior college or you're at a junior college right now, even if it doesn't transfer, still consider taking those classes because they will benefit you and you won't regret it in the long run.
Yeah, Shane and I totally agree with you because we were exactly in the same boat because we graduated from the same junior college. But it might scare you in the beginning if someone says, well, that's just not going to transfer. Don't worry about it. I know that I initially panicked when I would hear those words that, oh, it didn't transfer or it's not going to transfer. But like Shannon said, still take those opportunities to take those classes, even though it may not count towards your end goal or your end degree. Still take them. I know a lot of the classes that I have taken didn't transfer the way that I wanted them to, but I still learned so much from them.
So it looks like Lindsay put up a link to our virtual tour. Is that of our shop or of campus or?
So that's of campus. It's just something I came across on Facebook the other day, and so I thought it might be kind of neat to share for people that can't actually visit campus right now. I would really encourage anybody that's interested in coming to the University of Wyoming when it is permissible to actually visit campus and possibly meet with me and or Christy to kind of answer some questions. Until then, the virtual tour I think is a good substitute, and I went ahead and put my email address up there again in case anybody wants to write it down. If we're not able to actually do a face-to-face visit as soon as we need to, then I am more than willing to set up a, individualized Zoom sessions to answer questions and kind of just get people familiar with the program if they're interested. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
And Lindsay, I'm going to add on top of that, from an admissions standpoint tour, we're actually going to be starting something called ZME tours. So us in admissions, we're going to be doing virtual tours for students. So like they'll sign up for a session and we'll like go around on campus and like show the different things via Zoom. It's not quite the same thing, but if you are still interested and want to do that and go like, hey, maybe I want to go see campus in person while you're kind of just sitting around in quarantine and you're like, maybe I'll go on a tour today at the University of Wyoming. You can go and do that through our through the admissions here probably in the next like few weeks or so.
Awesome. You will definitely have to share that on our University of Wyoming Agriculture Education Facebook page, which if you aren't already following us on social media, our Instagram handle is UWYO Ag Education, and our Facebook page is the University of Wyoming Agricultural Education. That's how you hear about most everything that we do. If you email Lindsay for the Zoom link, she has your email, but if you want to go ahead and put your email on the chat again, we can get you on our email list. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to add? We're kind of winding down.
I am going to add, this is Christy. I will also share my email again too. And if you have questions about the way classes will transfer, please let me know. I am happy to take a look at your transcripts and give you an idea of what classes are going to come in, how they'll fill in, and approximate timeline for completion. I can also talk to you about adding that biology endorsement and what that means, as well as the possibility of maybe adding the English as a second language endorsement. That is also extremely marketable right now. Not that AgEd majors have a hard time in the job market, but it is a good boost, especially if you are going to a more competitive area. The other thing I'm going to highly recommend is, regardless of whether you decide to transfer to UW or not, keep your syllabi from every single class. You see a lot of nodding heads. And I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys can testify that when we started working together, one of the first things I said was, hey, I need syllabi for these classes. So keep those in a safe place where you can draw upon them, because that definitely makes a difference on a lot of times in what classes we can use and what positions to meet degree requirements.
Does anyone else have anything before we go ahead and log off? We will, so we did record the session and we will probably post it to Facebook. So if you have friends who are interested in coming to UW and they weren't able to make it tonight, they will have access to this. Awesome. I think I'm gonna stay on for a few more minutes if anyone has any questions, but if you guys need to go out of here, it's now 8 o'clock. So yeah, just let us know. Thanks for joining us tonight. And we can't wait to see you at UW.